On November 30th, 2018, South Central Alaska was rocked by a 7.0 magnitude earthquake. Despite damage to several major roads and many homes, Alaska fared well. Communication and transportation lines remain mostly open. And it serves as a good reminder to all Alaskans that we need to be prepared. Channel 2 News put together a series of reports in early October about emergency preparedness, and we put some of those stories together here. We're starting off with a basic emergency kit that you can build in a coffee can. Here's Chief Meteorologist Jackie Purcell.
Whether it's a weekend camping trip, a float down a river, or even if you or one of your kids is taking a road trip, it's always a good idea to prepare for problems and plan how to handle worse. I'll be showing you how to put together a 3-day disaster can, something to throw in your car, your camper, your boat, or plane, even your ATV. Now, if you don't have something like this already, listen up. It could make a big difference in your life.
These are the plans for the 72-hour disaster can. So many items. I made them all fit into this can. We'll see the assembly challenge coming up.
You may be asking yourself, is it really that crucial to have emergency food rations at close hand? Well, it is, and here's why. Covering news, we hear about that car that went off the main highway and was stuck for days, a driver who gets lost on a remote and unmaintained roadway, hikers that take a wrong turn and are lost for days, or a damaged boat or plane that has you waiting for rescue on a sandbar or island in a remote area. Planes, vehicles, ATVs, and watercraft. It's a variety of ways to explore the vastness of the state, but that comes with a variety of ways things can take a wrong turn.
I've asked a couple of scouts and their assistant scoutmaster from Troop 230 in Eagle River to help me assemble a few of these disaster cans. I'll also make these plans available on KTUU.com. This is a great opportunity because you know what the motto of the Boy Scouts is.
Be prepared.
The disaster can items can be found at local stores. You may even have some of these items on hand at home. A good estimate on the cost of the can and its contents is $25 to $30. The Scouts had their doubts it would all fit in the can.
Next up, tuna can on the bottom.
Tuna.
So it should look like this.
So
Okay.
the tuna goes
Yep. So we're at the bottom. And then we need the Vienna sausage cup.
applesauce.
Put it. All right. Flattened soup, hot chocolate, oatmeal, and stacked together. Yep. All right. So standing upright.
I got mine in there.
All right. All right. So you guys got the tang in the bag here?
Got the tang in the bag.
All right. So somewhere it's gonna. Let's see if we can jam this in here.
So never forget the lifesavers because they save your lives. What was that?
It worked out, guys, didn't
Yes,
it?
it did.
Nice compact can that's ready to go. It's got just enough to get you through a short emergency.
It did all fit, and the project is complete. Shopping took the most time, and with good directions, assembly's pretty quick. Eli and Ben were great. Assistant Scoutmaster Dave Snyder getting in there as well. They'll be able to share their experience with their troop members. I made a couple of new friends, and we're all better prepared. Jackie Purcell, Channel 2 News.
When we come back, we'll look at how a major earthquake can impact you decades later, and we check in with the Port of Alaska. Like having an emergency plan, having a home evacuation plan is critical. Do you know how to get out of your house if the main door is blocked? Do your children know how to do that? Well, Morning Edition anchor Ariane Aramburo got a lesson in evacuation.
It's one of those easier said than done situations, having an emergency escape plan in place. I'm sure we'd all like to think we know what to do in case of an emergency, but what happens when this door is blocked? And this, a second floor balcony, is your only option.
Anytime that you have a plan in place, when the emergency actually happens, everybody's kind of on the same sheet of music as to how to respond to that. Ultimately, the best spots generally tend to be places that are easily accessible away from the structure. In this particular setting where you have all these type of row houses, I would probably suggest something like the fire hydrant that's close. And at that point, a firefighter can actually make contact with you. And every room should have at least 2 exits. So in the event that one exit is blocked or compromised, you should be able to immediately know, due to your plan, that you're going to be able to go out the second egress. Generally, you want to stick with really common entrances and exits that you would normally use on a regular daily basis. So your primary is going to be your front door. So even though every room should have at least 2 exits, early warning is generally the best course of action. So that's enough smoke detectors and CO alarms on enough levels and enough appropriate locations.
All right, Matt, so we're in my room. Let's talk getting escaping out of here.
Whenever you have a choice of going out your primary or secondary, you should always go out your primary first. But to know whether or not you can go out this door, you need to check the door first. If you are already in the bedroom when the fire starts, or you're alerted to the bedroom from the smoke detectors, you're going to want to stay nice and low. The heat is and the smoke is up high. Roll out of bed. You'll come to the door. You're going to want to actually touch the door with the back of your hand. You're going to want to feel the knob specifically because it conducts the heat through. And then feel up and down the door to see if you have heat in the door and or if you have smoke puffing out from around the edges. That'll give you an idea what's on the other side. If you're not finding that, you can slowly, if your body's down, crack the door, peek outside, and decide whether or not your primary exit is available to you. So this is a really great reason to encourage people to keep their primary egresses free from furniture in the way, them screwing the windows closed, them nailing the doors shut, them putting all kinds of boxes and debris in front of their actual egresses. The primary egress is the easiest, it's the fastest, it's going to be the most likely way you go in the event of an emergency when you're disoriented.
Wow.
Secondary egresses are nice, they need to be in place, however, they're secondary. In this particular case, if a child cannot go out the primary egress, they would check their secondary egress. If they are small, you might want to put in a stool or something to that effect that they can get up to the window and see if they can actually open the window. You want to know that in advance. If they are unable to, they can try to block any smoke from around the door with a sheet or something to that effect. If they can't exit, they want to signal to the best of their ability for the firemen that are coming around, so they can throw objects out, such as a teddy bear, they can have a flashlight, they can shine at night, they can scream.
Final takeaways, what people need to know about a plan.
First and foremost, you need to have a plan. Everybody needs to know what the plan is. You need to practice the plan to include where to go. Kids should never hide in the event that they're trapped and are unable to activate the plan themselves. And in the end, activate 911. If you can't do it from the home, that is completely okay. That's why a lot of people will choose a neighbor as a destination, because they have phone access. Activate us, let us come and do our job.
Over here, we have a lot of the oxygen concentrators, stethoscopes, lights.
It's something state emergency professionals prepare and train for.
It's a lot of the parts and pieces that are needed to take care of the patient.
A medical situation in Alaska.
What we learned out of the Ebola, scare that happened in Africa was that globalization, you can get on an airplane and you can travel really fast.
One that might not even start in our state.
So how is Alaska prepared for a highly infectious disease?
But with the size and population of Alaska, during a natural disaster, it's vital Alaskans are prepared to take care of themselves initially. This includes medication. As with other parts of your emergency kit, you should have at least a week or 2 of medications on hand.
That's fine for over-the-counter, but prescriptions are a different story. Heidi Hedberg, Chief of Community and Rural Health Systems for the state, says talk to your pharmacist or medical provider.
That you look at those prescription medications, and if they are maintenance medications for those chronic meds, hypertension, thyroid, diabetes, that you actually have an extra week on hand.
Hedberg also recommends refilling your prescriptions when you have at least 3 to 7 days left, so that you have enough until outside assistance gets to Alaska.
Have a list of your medications handy, maybe in your wallet or your emergency kit. That way, if you end up at a shelter, you'll know what medications you're taking.
Here are some of the documents you might want to keep in your kit: insurance policies and critical phone numbers.
Even if you're well prepared for an emergency, it might take a while for the world to get back to normal, and you might need to buy supplies. Now's not the time to rely on plastic.